Hey, thanks so much for listening to the Ridge Community Church podcast. My name is John. I'm one of the pastors on staff at the Ridge, and our vision is to bring the hope of Jesus into every home. So as a piece of that, our goal each week is to bring you something that's hopeful and helpful. So subscribe to this podcast to make sure you don't miss any hopeful and helpful conversations. Hey everyone, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Ridge Community Church podcast. If you find today's episode hopeful and helpful, then please follow or subscribe and then rate and review so that more people can find the conversation. Before we get started, I want to share a little production note with all of you about today's episode. When we recorded today's episode, something went wrong with my microphone, and it ended up recording the conversation through my headphone mic instead of my usual podcasting mic. So if it's your first time listening, this isn't our usual audio quality, and I apologize for that. Now, on to the podcast. So last year at the Ridge, for the first time ever, we hosted something called Winter Wonderfest. And we're doing it again this year. See, this day allows 2,000 economically disadvantaged kids from all over southeastern Wisconsin to experience a day of Christmas joy. The kids and families, they get to pick out a free gift, make crafts, take a family photo, play games, have hot cocoa and treats, and more. And we think this is just one way that we can bring Christmas joy to our community. And we're doing it again this year. So we thought we would talk to someone who experienced Winter Wonderfest as a guest. So we're excited to share with you a conversation that Nate and I had with Kimberly. She shares what her experience was like, the value of asking for help, the impact it had on her family, some fears and expectations she had going in and how they changed, and much more. This is our conversation with Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for joining Nate and I on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Kimberly, would you mind just maybe introducing yourself, and then gotta have a fun question. So what's your favorite holiday?
That's a good question. So my name is Kimberly Garley. I've been going to the Ridge for almost 3 years. You may have seen my 4 kids running around the lobby. They're 5, 4, 3, and 2, and they kind of feel it sometimes, I feel like. And my favorite holiday used to be New Year's Eve, because me and my cousins used to all get together and have a huge New Year's Eve party. But as an adult, I feel like my favorite holiday is definitely Thanksgiving.
I mean, perfect timing for that, right? Do you have a favorite Thanksgiving dish?
That's a good question.
Tough question.
I really like my father-in-law's stuffing. It was like a recipe passed down by the generations, and it's so good.
Love that. Nate, do you have a favorite holiday? Have we talked about this question before?
Yeah, probably Christmas. But I will say, I was just talking with someone about this the other day. The Thanksgiving food is unrivaled. It is unrivaled. You can just cover a table with different traditional Thanksgiving things, and it's just all the bomb.
You can have a whole conversation. Oh, go ahead.
There's always the leftovers.
Yes. Which you think would last forever, but never do.
Yeah.
They last for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love Christmas as well. My birthday is right around Christmas, and so I get like the double dip, which was always a double-edged sword, because then one of my brothers would be like, "This is your Christmas and your birthday present," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." Anyway, so Kimberly, last year was our first ever Winter Wonderfest, and we heard that you were able to go and be a part as an attender, and curious if you could just share about maybe some of your experience about what going to Winter Wonderfest was like.
Yeah, I will say I debated going for a while. I was kind of nervous walking in because I didn't really know what it was going to be like or if I belonged there. But as soon as I walked into the room, it was amazing. You just felt so much warmth and love for you. And I was just stunned. It was the best experience.
You say that you weren't sure if you were belonged. Where did that come from? Was that like you thought it was for somebody that wasn't including you? What does that mean?
Yeah, so Winter Wonderfest, from my perspective at that time, was definitely for families who were struggling financially, which I was. My husband could not be around a lot last year, so We went from a 2-income household to a 1-income household. But me being a very proud person, I didn't want to put myself into that category of needing financial assistance.
Thanks for sharing that. I'm sure there's lots of people in a similar position to that, where, something is shifted or changed, and all of a sudden maybe it's a new experience to be asking for help.
Right. And it's always so hard for me, growing up, even to ask for help. So this is definitely a new experience for me, like putting myself out there and even receiving help.
So Kimberly, what did that, you said like that was your perspective at the time. What did that perspective shift look like for you?
Well, once I experienced Winter Wonderfest, I understood that's not just for financial need, but it also was an emotional need for me and for my kids. It got everybody's minds off of our current situation, and my kids just had fun. They were just able to have fun and create a great Christmas memory.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So was there like a mood shift afterwards, like coming in and then leaving, or like when you're there, like how did that kind of impact your family?
I just feel like it made us closer as a family. Like we had fun again, and we could all share that experience afterwards. And then that made us closer to the church as well. Like I had this realization during the time where my kids were all playing. They had a bunch of games set up. They were all playing a different game, and I just felt safe knowing that my kids were with people who I trusted at the Ridge.
How did that earn that trust? Was it like just like the presence or the atmosphere? Was there something about the people as they were talking to you? Like, how did that help?
Yeah, so I have 4 kids, and they're 5, 4, 3, and 2 years old. Yeah. So it's always crazy in my household. I was nervous coming into the game area because I'm like, how am I going to watch all of them at one time? And they did. The older 2 scattered, for sure. But I already knew some of the volunteers, and they came up and they talked to me, and I could see all the games, and I could see them all having fun. So I felt like I didn't have to be a hawk. I just felt safe with everybody there.
That's so cool. And it sounds like you said we had fun. Like you actually ended up having fun yourself as well.
I had so much fun just watching them play.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember we moved to the craft area at one time to take a break, and one of the volunteers came up, and my son Christopher was playing with this hat, and he ended up just giving his hat to my son. He's like, I got an extra. And it was just so nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for those that maybe they haven't gone before, what was it set up like? So you walk into the doors, the Greenfield campus, and was it set up and it was funny is that I was in Seattle, right? And so I haven't even seen exactly what it looked like. So can you paint a picture for us?
Okay, so you walk through the doors, and then there's a table, and we RSVP'd last year. So they had name tags and a little coupon for the gifts that you had to bring when you're ready to pick up your gift. There was people there who were willing to show you around if you wanted like a tour. Otherwise, you just had free reign to explore the Ridge, which was different, again, than what I thought. I expected it to be kind of systematic, like you go here first, and then the next stop, and then the third stop. But it really just let you be free and interact with other people as much as you wanted. So there was, right at the front, hot chocolate station and popcorn and cotton candy to get your kids all sugared up. My kids loved it. And then they had, in their little community room, they had coloring. It was kind of a nice calm station where you could take pictures with a sleigh. And they had people, you could take your own, or you could have somebody take a picture for you. They had it decorated like how I imagined the outside of a house that's geared up for Christmas, like on Candy Cane Lane was decorated.
Yeah.
All these blowed up figures, and then our big auditorium was crafts and games. And then they recommended doing the presents last, which was in our Ridge Kids area. And that was probably what I was most nervous for. But I didn't have anything to be nervous about. It was great.
Yeah.
Each room was set up with like a different category of toy in it. So you went to the category where your child might like to find a toy, like Legos or sports or dolls. And you just made your way through, and that was it. And I couldn't believe my kids just followed one by one, like little ducklings, through all the rooms. It was amazing.
I'm curious, would you just tell us, can you talk us through like that experience of like you were nervous about going to get the gifts? Like what made you nervous? And because maybe that's some dialogue that somebody's having in their own mind as well. Like, okay, I'm a little bit scared about the gift part. And then what transitioned you from nervousness to excitement?
I was nervous about the gift part because I know my children can be indecisive. And so I was worried that one of my children might pick something up from one room and then also want something else from another room.
Yeah.
which is common. Yeah. That changed, I think, when the volunteers were really helping us go through the rooms. They made it so that you just felt comfortable walking into each room. And if you needed to go back, you could go back. It's not like you had to go one direction and go all the way around. It was just warmth all around. Mm-hmm. It just felt welcomed.
That's really cool that they have that balance of like, and I've seen the building too, when it's all set up, like it's every nook and cranny, like has Christmas goodness going on. But it's cool to hear that they have that structure as well. You kind of get the best of both worlds a little bit. Did the kids have a favorite spot?
Definitely the game area. That was their favorite. And my son, Christopher, who's 5, he was like out there playing with the middle school kids. They were playing with this big ball, and that was definitely his favorite thing to do.
How do you feel like how do you feel like it changed your guys' perspective on just like that Christmas season in general? Because I know that you mentioned you're kind of focusing on the situation to start, and then it almost kind of gave you guys some space and some relief. What did that look like?
I guess instead of being stressed out about a situation, it changed my perspective, which then helped, my kids as well, being so young, to just being grateful for everything we have. Because we had so many people who helped us out last Christmas season, that you just couldn't help but feel like overwhelmed with love and compassion, and the Ridge really helped with that.
So if somebody's listening right now, okay, and I guess they would have to be listening because otherwise they wouldn't be hearing our voices. So I guess they're listening. So for those of you listening, so for those that are listening and they're on the fence about whether or not to come as a guest, how would you encourage them?
I would have to say, just go do it. Like, you have to accept the help when you need it. And that's something that takes a long time, or at least it took me a long time to figure out. Because it's not only going to help maybe financially buying gifts, if that's something that you're in need of, but it's also going to help provide that emotional support and comfort, because it's such a fun, loving environment. You're going to create so many memories just going there. And I think we were there for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours, and it just totally changed our perspective about the season we were going through.
So zero regrets.
Zero regrets. And in fact, this year, me and my 2 older kids are signed up to go run some of the game stations, because I figured they'd really enjoy doing that. So I can't wait to be on the other side this year and help that life change for people who come as well.
That's awesome. So that's so amazing. But I'm kind of just blown away. I'm a little speechless right now. So what made you decide that you wanted to be a part and serve?
It helped me so much last year. I just couldn't go a year without serving. I wanted to help provide those memories for other people, and I want that to be a part of my children's lives too. So having my 5 and 4-year-old help, maybe if it's a bowling game, setting up the pins or handing out the prizes, I just think they would have so much fun doing that, and it'd be so rewarding for them.
What do you hope they experience on the other side, the serving side?
I hope my kids, it opens their eyes up to really just loving to serve and seeing like smiling faces that they're providing for these other kids.
That's so cool. So, okay, well then just talk about being on the fence of your guest. Somebody's listening. They're like, I'm not sure if I want to sign up to serve or not. How would you encourage them?
Gosh, you should serve, because you should serve. The people who served looked like they were having just as much fun as my kids were having. They're running around, smiling, helping people where they need to go. I mean, the people who were making the cotton candy were like covered in cotton candy, and they were just smiling and having a good time.
Nate, did you have any questions?
No questions. I mean, like John said, I'm just like struck by your story. It's so cool to see the gratitude reciprocate, and that like literally being evident in your story, how you went and then just like couldn't help but go and serve. And like, I would imagine, Kimberly, that like, as you guys go and serve, that's just going to continue to happen. And like I said, I've been around it a little bit, and the energy and how fun it feels. But how cool to just hear that that's literally every person that's there, like the people serving, the people coming. And yeah, thanks for sharing your story there.
Yeah, definitely hoping to continue this on throughout the duration that Winter Wonderfest continues.
Just for people in general, like if I can ask about the experience you were in last year on Christmas, and the place that maybe you find yourself in where you're discouraged or in a hard situation. How did, not even just outside of even maybe Winter Wonderfest, but what was the encouragement that helped you get through that time?
Family and friends who stepped up and checked on us were definitely the number one encouragement. And one of those people who was really a huge influence during that time was actually our pastor, Forrest. He went above and beyond to help my husband through his difficult time before he was able to come back and rejoin our family. And he just always, checking in, making sure we're okay. And it really meant a lot to everyone.
Sounds like the value of just like having close community and connections and people that you trust to be there for you.
Yeah, we're very lucky that all of our family lives pretty close. So the fact that through this hard time, everyone was able to forgive and to help and give second chances, and not to just leave us, it reminds me of the story where Jesus left the 99 sheep to go find the one. And I truly felt like my family did that. They just left what they were doing to help us in our time of need. So it was just so powerful, and I'm so grateful for them doing that.
Thanks for sharing that. And thanks for sharing about Winter Wonderfest, and just that encouragement to for those that are maybe considering going as a guest, please come and be a part. And hoping your story will be somewhat similar to Kimberly's family story. And now that I'm on the side of serving, sign up and serve alongside Kimberly. Well, that was our conversation with Kimberly talking about Winter Wonderfest. And Nate, I'll throw it over to you first. What were your takeaways?
Man, that was good stuff. I mean, Kimberly is the best. And like, we were genuinely in that conversation hearing about her story. And just like, I know you, John, too, were just feeling like blown away by that, and just how cool it is that they went and had a great time. And I think just the way she articulated how like every single person there, the people going and the people serving, are just having an awesome experience and experiencing that like gratitude reciprocating and just God doing awesome things in the Christmas season, right?
Yeah, I think it really illustrated a couple things to me, even beyond, like, along with that, is like when, like, she took a chance, she took a step to do something she was uncomfortable with, and like because of that, God used that in a really cool way and used the people in a really cool way to kind of impact her family, and it forced her to take a second and just be grateful. And that change of perspective was just so valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested to listen back through and hear my reaction when she's like, "Yeah, I'm serving now," because I feel like I went really high pitched there. So we'll see. But
no, it's cool. Yeah.
I guess, and maybe some practical takeaways are just really simply like, if you have the availability to come join us and serve at Winter Wonderfest, please do, and make an impact in somebody's life, like Kimberly. Serve alongside her. Or if you know somebody that could really use this type of opportunity as a space to be able to go as an attender and have that time to, feel rejuvenated and with their family, invite them, send them a link, or maybe it's you yourself, and you just encourage you to take that step. Well, thanks for listening to the Ridge Community Church podcast, and make sure to like and subscribe, follow, leave a review, share this with a friend. You'll find all the information you need about Live Big in the show notes, and make sure you don't miss any hopeful and helpful conversations.